hands together for Sue Drummond, everybody.
Nobody likes to think of themselves as a racist, but those of us who grew up at a certain time, in a certain era, were taught some lessons that maybe pointed us in the wrong direction. There's an episode from my childhood that I remember very clearly from back in the 50s. We were a middle-class family living on a small farm in an area that was quickly turning from rural to suburban. And being middle class, my mother had a woman come to clean once a week, a cleaning woman. Now the rich people had maids who lived in, but middle class people all had a cleaning woman that would come one day a week. And they were all black, or Negro as it was called at the time. Our cleaning woman's name was Mrs. Marshall. We never called her by her first name. I don't even know what it is to this day. But I do know that Mom went up every Thursday and picked her up and brought her back to the house for the day. Now, Mrs. Marshall had 13 children of her own. Can you imagine going to clean somebody else's house when you got 13 children at home? And her youngest child was named Kathy. Kathy was 6, so Kathy was just a few months older than I was. And sometimes she'd come along with her mom. I guess she didn't have anybody to watch her that day. And I thought that was just great, because living on the farm, there weren't that many other kids around, and I thought it was just great to have a playmate. And we had a lot of fun. We would go into the barn and collect eggs. We'd go down and look for toads in the spring house. We could climb the apple tree, and if it was raining, we'd go up and poke around in the attic where it was all dark and dusty. And meanwhile, we could hear our mothers working together downstairs. Mrs. Marshall would be vacuuming and my mom would dust, or they'd do the windows on the outside. Oh, I think you missed a spot down here in the corner, they'd say. They seemed to get along really well together. I think my mom was a little lonely on the farm. There wasn't any other women around to talk to. And she enjoyed Mrs. Marshall's company. I don't know how Mrs. Marshall felt about it, but she was really nice to my mom. So that was great. And sometimes I get to go over to Mrs. Marshall's house and play with Kathy. I don't know if it was a babysitting arrangement or what, but I thought it was great. I remember this hot summer day, the street out front of their house had just been re-oiled, and Kathy and I went out, and she showed me how you could pop the tar bubbles with your toes, and that was great. And then we went into lunch with these tarry feet. Mrs. Marshall got after us, got one of Kathy's big brothers, said, go get a rag and get some gasoline and clean those girls' feet off. So once our feet were clean and she gave us lunch, chicken noodle soup, half a bologna sandwich on Wonder Bread, and a glass of milk. Then she sent us back outside to play, and we would play with her little dog. His name was Minute, little black thing. And she said, he's no bigger than a minute. We had a good time together. We really did. If somebody had asked me how Kathy was different, I wouldn't have really known what to say. I had one other little girlfriend who was blonde and blue-eyed. She seemed more different than Kathy. Kathy and I both had brown eyes, and our mothers would braid our brown hair into pigtails. So if somebody said, how is Kathy different? I might have said, well, she's taller than I am. In September, I started kindergarten, and Kathy was in the first grade. By November, I was planning my 6th birthday party. My mom got out a piece of paper and sat down at the table, and she says, who do you want to come to your birthday party? So I named a few girls from my kindergarten class, and then I said, and Kathy. And my mom stopped writing. She looked at me. And she said, Kathy can't come. Why can't Kathy come? I want Kathy to come. My mom was quiet for a long time. Because she's already 6. I didn't know there was rules about age at a birthday party, but I was only 5, what did I know? So, but I wasn't going to give up. I said, but I want Kathy to come. I want Kathy to come. I want to invite Kathy. My mom was real quiet. She was really thinking this over. And then she took my hand and she looked in my eyes and she said, if you invite Kathy, nobody else will come. Oh, why not? They just won't. Well, that didn't sound like any fun. I didn't want to have a birthday party with just one other person there. So I said, okay, we won't invite Kathy. And then my birthday party came and it was fun. And we had cake and ice cream and presents and balloons, and all the little girls were in their party dresses. And I have to admit, I didn't think a whole lot about Kathy not being there. And I don't know if she knew that she wasn't invited, because I hadn't invited any of the other first graders, them all being 6 already. But it was clear from then on that we were no longer friends. She never came back to the house with her mom, and I never went to her house again. And we were in the same school. For 12 years, we went through the same school system together, but we never had a class together. And I started to notice that all the black kids sat together in the lunchroom, and they walked to and from school together, back in the days when kids walked to school. We didn't mix. I would pass Kathy in the hall, and we didn't speak to each other. It's as if we had never known each other. It was really kind of sad. We both finished high school. We both went to college. Kathy became a lawyer. I finished college and got an MBA. So we had equal lives, maybe, but separate. But I think we lost something back then. I think we lost something. If we had been a little braver, we might have made a difference. It might have been a very small change. But if my mom and I had been brave enough to invite Kathy to our party, things might have been different. If Kathy had come, things might have been different. I hope I'm not a racist. I was taught not to hate, but to be separate. But I wish we had all been a little braver back in 1956. Thank you.